not move forward and to adopt comprehensive immigration reform is actually a letdown on the national security responsibility that we have here in Congress and the United States government, but it's also a letdown to the moral standards that make us a great nation. So I am very hopeful in the weeks and several months ahead that we will have comprehensive immigration reform that gets to the President's desk, that the President doesn't pass on. Thank you.
Senator Menendez.
Thank you. Let me first thank all of our religious leaders for coming to Washington and adding their spiritual and moral voice to this great issue. I think it's incredibly important that we understand that this is about all of us, not just about the 12 million. It's about all of us and what type of nation we'll have and what type of sense of American ideals we'll preserve. Senator Kennedy, I think, said it best when he quoted the book of Matthew. In that same chapter, it says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in." In other words, condemn and banish should not always be our first instinct. And I hope that the dialogue and the debate, and I certainly appreciate my colleagues in the Senate and in the House on a bipartisan basis. I appreciate Senator Graham particularly keeping faith with his view that we can accomplish this and working to try to achieve it as it continues. The question is, how do we ensure two great goals: the security of our country and the ideals under which it was founded? You know, along our entire history, whether you are part of the daughters of the American Revolution and can trace your ancestry back to the Mayflower, or whether you came through Ellis Island and onto the portals of New Jersey as you at Liberty State Park, where you transferred throughout the country, or as my parents did, who came here in search of freedom and an opportunity for democracy and to have a better life. Across the spectrum of Americans' history, we have been intertwined in the question of immigration, and it has always been a contentious issue. The question is, how do we achieve security and also our ideals? And in my mind, I would rather know who is here to pursue the American dream versus the very small, infinite number that might be here to destroy it. And that ultimately comes about by having those individuals in the shadows to be able to come into the light and be able to ensure that they are here pursuing the American dream. And those who do not avail themselves of the opportunity that hopefully will be offered them, those are the ones we might have to be concerned about at the end of the day. Lastly, I do also hope that this debate continues focused on reality. In that respect, both Congressman Gutierrez and Flake's legislation as a foundation is an excellent example of legislation that deals with reality. Reality is we would have the most massive deportation in the history of mankind. For those who argue that we can do that, 12 million people would be the most massive deportation in the history of mankind. It would cost, according to the CBO, I think $250 billion. It's just not reality. It's not reality as well to believe that some of the jobs done by immigrant workers in this country will simply be filled by Americans. I'm for any American who wants to do any job in the United States first and foremost. But the reality is, if you had fruits or vegetables today for your breakfast or lunch, it probably was picked by the hand and bent back of an immigrant worker. If you have a loved one who has problems meeting their daily necessities, they probably were helped by the steady hand and warm heart of an immigrant worker. If you slept in the hotels of Washington last night, then it was probably, your bathroom was probably cleaned on the knees of an immigrant worker, and the list goes on and on. The reality is that this is about what type of nation we will be. I believe we can preserve our security and preserve our ideals. And do it, I hope, also rooted in a long-standing tradition that as part of those ideals, family reunification is part of those ideals. That's what I look forward to working towards as we achieve what I hope will be comprehensive immigration reform. One that we have a lot of challenges on the days ahead to achieve, but I believe with faith and with goodwill and the bipartisan effort that is developing towards that, we can achieve it and bring those people out of the darkness into the light, secure America much better, and also deal with its economic realities at the end of the day.
Congressman Gutierrez.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to say thank you to Senator Kennedy for being such a stalwart in this fight for comprehensive Menendez. I still miss him in the House of Representatives, and I wish he was at this critical time there with us. We're doing well. I know we would do better, but I'm happy he's also here. Senator Salazar, thank you for your many words of encouragement, I assure you. And to Lindsey Graham, it was quite an honor when the two of us were given awards by National Council of La Raza on the same dais, the same night, for the same issues. I think it speaks about the same height. That's what I have to do, late all the time. But I think it speaks volumes about how people are coming together and how people value the kinds of things that we're doing. So the faith-based leaders that are here today. We can't get as powerful as we are. We can't get this done without you. Without each of you going to your pulpit as you have made a commitment to do and speaking to your congregations and getting those congregations to make those phone calls. It seems to me that millions of people marched because they were against something. They were against dividing you from your congregations, making you into immigration agents, and destroying one of the clear foundations of our community, our church, and splitting our religious leaders. But it's a little more difficult at this point to get people to be affirmative about something, to get them to make phone calls about what direction they want to. Fear is an awfully potent motivator. Now we need to, and you can do it much better than I can, because you have the credibility to encourage that community to have hope, to encourage that community to move forward. We need you so much, and so it's so wonderful. You know, a couple of things it always occurs to me that the Bible is full of references to the foreigner. And I mean, the foreigner among us, the most vulnerable foreigner among us, is the undocumented immigrant that lives in the United States. And I'm so delighted that we're going to work together to make sure that he and she are able to stay here in this country together. Dame decir unas palabras en español. Gracias a mi colega el congresista Menendez y Salazar. Quiero decirle, perdón, al senador Menendez y al senador Salazar, y quiero decirle al senador Kennedy, gracias por siempre ser un líder tan fuerte para nuestra comunidad y todos los inmigrantes. A final de cuentas, esto es sobre familias. El issue más importante